What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today I'm going to be showing off a Snorlax VMAX deck in expanded format. Snorlax really finding its home in expanded, being able to use G-Max Fall for 300 damage with the help of Sky Field from Roaring Skies. Shout out to Riley Hulbert. This is Riley's list, so big thanks to Riley for the insight into this awesome new deck in expanded format. Snorlax, definitely a powerful Pokemon, 340 hit points, capable of dealing 300 damage for just one energy attachment. We've got the triple acceleration energy, of course, which provides 3 colorless energy when attached to an evolution Pokemon. And then Sky Field, we can fill our bench to 8 and then deal 300 damage with our Snorlax VMAX, just knocking out just about anything that we come across. So a very strong concept here. We've got a bunch of Pokemon to help us set our strategy up. Shaymin-EX, a 4 of in this deck, so that we can really run through our resources, set up our bench Pokemon as quickly as possible, and get to using G-Max Fall. A couple copies of Dedenne-GX, a couple copies of Exeggcute as well. Their propagation ability is very good, so that we can bring the Exeggcutes out of the discard pile and then use cards like Ultra Ball or Quick Ball for, nothing, basically free, right? We don't have to discard anything. If we use the Execcute's ability to bring the Exeggcute repeatedly back from the discard pile, you can use your Quick Balls, your Great Catcher, or your Ultra Balls very easily without discarding useful resources. So the Exeggcutes are very cool. They also are capable of being put down onto the bench if you get your Sky Field countered and then find a Sky Field but you're low on Pokemon in the deck. You can propagate your Exeggcutes, lay them down onto the bench, and fulfill a bench requirement in order to be dealing your maximum damage with G-Max Fall. We do have some useful supporters in the deck as well. AZ is good for just picking your Snorlax up after it has received some damage, laying it down on a new Snorlax V, and swinging it away with a fresh Snorlax VMAX. We have got N, of course, to limit our opponent's hand size near the end of the game, Guzma to bring up any target that we want on our opponent's bench, and most of all, Colress. Colress is the best supporter in this deck since we're going to be using Sky Field to fill our bench, hopefully, as much as we can. We're constantly going to be using Colress to shuffle draw for upwards of 10 to 16 cards, which is incredible. Shuffle draw for 10 to 16 cards is insane. So we're going to be doing that quite a bit with Colress, which is absolutely nuts. And then the Muk line, very important because of the existence of Sudowoodo with its roadblock ability. Sudowoodo makes it so that you can't have more than 4 benched Pokemon in play, which is obviously quite a roadblock for our Snorlax VMAX deck. So in order to turn off our opponent's Sudowoodo, of which we also run one, we do have the Alolan Muk line, whose Power of Alchemy ability turns off basic Pokemon's abilities, including Sudowoodo. So once we set up our Power of Alchemy Alolan Muk, we aren't going to have access to useful abilities like Oranguru's Instruct or Shaymin's Setup or even Intrepid Sword, but we will be able to bypass Sudowoodo's roadblock. So usually when you're trying to take a big knockout, you'll set up the Muk, spread your bench out to 8, deal 300 damage, and just kind of brace for impact, hope that your opponent doesn't have a response, and then try to do it again real quick without getting your Sky Field bumped or your Pokemon board state disrupted in any way. Really excited to get some games under my belt with this deck, so let's see how it works in action. It's funny, in expanded format, fighting weakness is one of the most popular weaknesses to exploit with now Snorlax VMAX weak to fighting. Previously, we've got Dark Box, which is weak to fighting, Pikarom weak to fighting, Zoroark GX weak to fighting, no shortness of decks weak to fighting in expanded format. And I'll be interested to see if any fighting decks do pop up at Collinsville, which I will be attending. So I am kind of in the thick of testing for the Collinsville Regional Championships right now. I do really like Zacian, and I think Zacian is going to be a very popular choice for a lot of players at that Collinsville Regional Championships, just because it's a new card. It is all over Oceania, if you've seen the results for the Oceania International Championships as well, and I think that a lot of players are going to be excited to play Zacian in combination with Max Elixir and Metal Saucer, kind of like in Turbo Dark fashion in expanded format. So a new Turbo deck, lots of new Turbo decks on the horizon in this in this new upcoming metagame, which is very, very exciting, as I think that they are pretty fun to play, especially the Snorlax V Max, capable of dealing 300 damage for just 1 energy. I mean, it doesn't really get more silly than that. And even though we do only run 4 copies of Triple Acceleration Energy, can't run more than that, we do have 2 copies of Special Charge in the deck so that we can throw our Special Energy back into the deck and, you know, effectively have access to 8 Special Energy throughout the course of the game if we play them just right. But usually you only need so many to make things work. Now, my opponent just attached their Cobalion GX and passed, so not a great start from them, but we do have quite the opening hand here. I think I don't really mind putting the Exeggcute down onto the bench and then just using Shaymin to set up a couple times. We want to try and find some other cards, playable cards. Yikes. I think this is probably okay. What, for 1? Seems sketch, but sure. I can always just get rid of the Sky Field and then go from there, and yes, we will end to see some different cards. That's fine. And this is a good hand to be in right here. We do have 2 copies of Special Charge in the deck. I like getting the Alolan Grimer down. The other Exeggcute can go down. The other Snorlax can go down. And to be honest, I just am comfortable day-to-day changing this hand to get rid of it and see some new cards, because I want to have supporter in my hand most definitely for next turn. This hand is looking strong. I think that really I just want a supporter in the hand though, so we're probably just going to go here and get ourselves a supporter guaranteed, Colress probably, and just go from there. My opponent does not counter my Stadium this next turn, we are good to go. Even if they do counter the Stadium, I don't really mind. I can get rid of both of the eggs and then be able to pop those back down if I want to. So I'm not really concerned about losing too many Pokemon or resources if my Sky Field gets countered, and we're ready to go in with big turn 2 G-Max Fall. Yeah, sure enough, there goes the Sky Field. So we'll bop one of these Exeggcutes, Exeggcute 2, and a Shaymin, leaving our board state just how we want it. The Alolan Grimer being down means that I can get into an Alolan Muk next turn and turn my opponent's basics abilities off. And this is an ADP deck, so I have seen quite a few players trying to make ADP work in expanded format. Arceus Dalgopalkia does have access to double Dragon Energy, which is certainly appealing, being able to turn 1 Alter Creation easily, right? Seems very strong. Also, Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff, boy, seems very good against this particular deck as well, as we are going to have many Pokemon EX and GX in play at all times. So that is something to look out for as well. However, you know, the damage capability of this deck, I don't really care about a Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff with 240 hit points. If they knock out one of my Pokemon, I'm going to just get right back in there and knock out a Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff the following turn. If they don't have Sudowoodo in their deck, we are just running over their board with, you know, not much in the way of being able to stop me. Looks like they've got max elixirs in the deck, water energies. Do they have the second energy to, wow, okay, maybe Ultimate Ray? Or are they going to alter creation this turn? If they Ultimate Ray, they can power up the Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff and get some more energy into play, which could be pretty good. And it looks like that is what they're going to go for. Now, I do have my game plan set out. The fact that my opponent has an Arceus Dalgopalkia in the active and a Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff on the bench means that I can win this game in 2 turns. I just need to take 2 knockouts, 1 here and 1 there. We're good to go. So I don't really care if my opponent takes a response knockout with that Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff. We should be chilling. Here is our very own Sky Field, so that's great. And I'm going to Ultra Ball, and we're going to get rid of, I believe, these guys. So we'll get rid of that and that. We can guarantee ourselves the Snorlax VMAX. There's only 2 of those in the deck, so I think that's pretty fair. And then the odds of me being able to draw into another Pokemon off of this are very high, in which case you see we've got plenty of Pokemon here. So with the opponent not having a Roadblock Sudowoodo down, we are just free to bench as many Pokemon as we want, really draw as aggressively as we need to. We've got our own Roadblock Sudowoodo, which limits my opponent's bench, which is very good. And then, let's see, we've got 60 plus 30 more for each. So we need 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 plus 6 is not going to be enough, so I need a full bench. I could just propagate 2 more, to be honest, and just do that. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I can, well, we'll propagate these. I can bench those. I can also Dowsing Machine for an Ultra Ball, set up my other Snorlax. I really don't mind that either, so that seems good just to get it set up. And since I do only have one other Snorlax available to me, I'm just going to do that and get this guy set up so he's good to go, because my opponent is going to be taking a knockout on this active Snorlax VMAX. It's definitely not living through the turn. We're seeing how busted this Exeggcute is, though. Just so good, especially in this deck, where you can not only use it to help with your discards with Ultra Ball, Quick Ball, but you can also use it to fill those bench spots, which I really like. So we're just going to do that again. I don't think that there's any way for my opponent to really take advantage of the fact that I have these 30 hit point weaklings on my bench. If they counter my stadium, cool, they go to the discard pile, and you know, we just go from there. And if not, then we probably just win the game. So we're just going to G-Max Fall for 300 damage on that Arceus Dalgapalkia and see if my opponent can keep me from being able to find a triple acceleration energy next turn to win the game. Or the Great Catcher. I do have Great Catcher in this list as well, which we did have to get rid of, unfortunately. Guzma could also be a game-winning card for us. And there goes the stadium again, Field Blower, but I've already got another one in my hand. And this is something that I really like about Riley's list in particular, is that Riley's list, and something interesting that I could have done, though I kind of want to bring that Mega Lopunny into the active position, I could have bumped my Dedenne and my Tapu Lele, and then Jumping Balloon would have only done 60 damage and would not have been able to take a knockout on my Snorlax, but I kind of wanted them to bring, you know, the Mega Lopunny up and take a knockout on my Snorlax, which actually they're short. Unreal. I didn't do the math. I just assumed they had it, but that's going to be wild. I mean, that's just unheard of. But yeah, here we go again. 300 damage again, Snorlax VMAX. We've got the eggs. Bring out the eggies. Propagate, and the same Snorlax VMAX, 340 hit points. My goodness, what a guy. And there we go with the G-Max Fall for game. And yeah, Snorlax VMAX looking pretty busted. Now, I do think that nearly every opponent is probably going to be playing that Roadblock Sudowoodo. Previously, we had Zoroark and Turbo Dark really trying to max out their bench sizes, so people were already hip to Roadblock Sudowoodo to help prevent them from doing so. And now that there's a new Skyfield deck in format with Snorlax VMAX coming on the scene, I think we're going to be seeing even more Roadblock Sudowoodos than we had previously. And unlike most decks in expanded format, most decks in expanded format want to go second. This deck actually wants to go first because it is an evolution deck, and it really does make a difference between going first and going second, because if we go second, you know, we can't really attack until the following turn, but at least if we go first, we can attack on our second turn, which is very good. So we've got ourselves Oranguru. I don't want to get rid of all those special charges right off the bat, so let's go and actually quick ball away the Oranguru. I think he's kind of the weakest link, and we're going to get ourselves a Snorlax just to guarantee it. And then we can go here, there. I mean, busted board. This is exactly what we want. And then probably N, because we're not looking to discard both our special charge. That would be bad. And then we're just going to Intrepid Sword and draw some more cards. So we've got everything that we need to get this thing kicked off. And then next turn we can N and hopefully draw into some Shaymins and some things like that to really get a turn 2 knockout on the Arceus Dalgapalkia. Now we can expect, again, probably going to be seeing Double Dragon Energy, turn 1, Ultra Creation GX. And I think that the more that I've tested Arceus Palkia in expanded format, the more I felt like it's not really needed. There are other ways to boost your damage output in expanded format. You don't need to use Ultra Creation GX to try and win that prize trade. That prize trade is much more rigid in standard and expanded. The card pool is so large and your damage output is so high, and you know, we've got choice band and things like that. If you're trying to boost your Zacian's damage output, you could use choice band. If you're trying to boost your Zacian's output, you could use the Delmise. There's a Delmise, I believe, from maybe Guardians Rising, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Delmise that boost metal Pokemon's damage output, also very good when paired with Zacian. That I'm not sure that Ultra Creation is quite needed in expanded format, though I'm sure that potentially some will do well at Collinsville. But that's just my personal opinion. Let's see, my Grimer is sleeping on the job, which makes this combo I'm about to try and pull off a lot more difficult, but still doable. We just need to find ourselves a Muk and a Float Stone to evolve. When he evolves, he wakes up and we go back into our Snorlax and just go from there. So let's Trainers Mail. See, we got an Ultra Ball and a Float Stone. That's all very good. I don't necessarily want to Ultra Ball these away, so I think Float Stone probably seems good. And then we'll attach that and go. That, or I don't want to like really mess with this hand. I just want to end this hand away because it's got those special charges in it. So I'm just going to end here and hope that we get ourselves into a hand with an Ultra Ball or a Quick Ball. Unreal. Unbelievable. Okay, then. You know, you don't want the 2 special charge in your hand, but here, you know what? The special charge, they just were meant to be in my hand, apparently. And I think that we're probably just going to try and win this game without them. If I get rid of both special charges for the Snorlax VMAX, which I'm about to do, that's fine. They were born to go. And then we're going to get the Snorlax VMAX. Now we just need to find a Muk. I can attach that triple acceleration energy to the Snorlax and Grimer, and then Shaymin-EX to draw up to 6 cards. We find another Ultra Ball, then we've got it, and I believe that we've got it, right? I've got the egg, I've got a Rescue Stretcher if I want to bring that guy back, and we should be good to go. I've got the Exeggcute. We could bring that, yep. And this is perfect. I literally have everything that I need. So put a Pokemon from my discard pile into my hand, bring the Oranguru back, and let's go in, get rid of the AZ and the Field Blower for the Muk that I need to wake my Grimer up from his slumber. And there we go with those 2. Boom. And turn 2. 300 damage on an ADP. Absolutely gnarly. With the Colress in hand, 3 prizes, G-Max full, 300 damage. I mean, I tell you what, this deck is a lot of fun to play. Definitely has things that can hold it back from just getting that G-Max fall for 300 damage. I mean, like I said, Sudowoodo, that roadblock ability, very good. But even there, I mean, I had it even if my opponent had a Sudowoodo in play because of the Alolan Muk. We would have just been able to set up the Alolan Muk on turn 2, just like we did. And even if my opponent had a roadblock Sudowoodo, we're taking 3 prizes. Now, the scariest thing about this particular match that I'm playing is that I did have to get rid of both special charge in that hand because PTCGO was being very unforgiving. So that was a little bit rough. And I think here we actually probably don't want the Muk, which is funny enough. Now that I've knocked out the ADP, I think like we probably get rid of the Muk so that I can have my abilities back. And we're going to get rid of that Shaymin too. And we do have Dowsing Machine in the deck, so I can actually, at some point, if I want to, get that Grimer back. And the reason that we wanted to turn the Muk off is so that we force them to get their own Garbodor into play. And by doing that, we can, you know, we make it harder for them to hit things that they need. Like, we kept the Muck in play, they could just Ultra Burst this turn, but if we remove the Muck in play, then they need to find the piece that they need in order to use that not Ultra Burst, Luster Downfall. Right, Ultra Burst does keep them from attacking because of the way that it reads. But they're setting up the Ultra Necrozma. They got the Garbodor in play. Do they have the double Dragon Energy in order to Luster Downfall for 170? What's sketchy is that I do not have a backup Snorlax, but they don't have an attack. So we're chilling. And we'll go here. Don't mind that. I also want the Float Stone there. And Garbodor's out. I'm doing plenty of damage. So I want to keep my supporters in the deck. Just looking for a triple acceleration energy. We've got it there at the end of the hand. I only need to take 3 more knockouts. However, there are only 3 more energy in my deck. So we can take this knockout. I want to set up another Snorlax, which seems good. So we're going to get rid of that. Get ourselves a second Snorlax. And then take a look at just the remaining cards in my deck. I do have a triple acceleration energy. Both of them are in there, which is very good. And we're just going to G-Max Fall for knockout. 240 damage on the Ultra Necrozma. Easy, easy, easy with Snorlax VMAX. Look how epic this card looks. I mean, gigantic tree growing out of its stomach. It doesn't get too much better than that as far as Pokemon card design goes. And this deck, it feels a lot like Mega Ray. If you played during the Roaring Skies era, X and Y, this deck is like Mega Ray at the next level, which is really exciting to pilot. And I know that Mega Ray was a very popular deck, one of the most popular Mega Evolution Pokemon decks that there ever was. So to kind of have a reincarnated, you know, Mega Ray deck in expanded format does feel very cool and a lot of fun. Of course, we're still playing that Sky Field from Roaring Skies. We're still playing the Shaymins, you know, from Roaring Skies. So this deck definitely kind of still smells like Mega Ray. It's got a lot of the key pieces of Mega Ray. The Sky Field, the Shaymins, and whatnot are all very good. They do have teammates this turn, so they are going to be able to get themselves an attack on my Snorlax VMAX. I've got 21 cards left in my deck, so I could have a little bit of trouble drawing into the triple acceleration energy on one of these turns, which is why I put the Float Stone on my active. And let's just go with getting rid of probably the Sudowoodo. That thing does not matter. And we're going to take a hit here for 170 damage. But my opponent's hand is very small, just 1 card. So I'm thinking that if I'm able to find what I need, and we've got a Sky Field, that's great. Not that it necessarily matters, but it does allow me to just draw more cards with Colress, which is really what we're looking for. So that is very good. Let's Trainers Mail. Versus Seeker, I don't think it really matters. Already got Versus Seekers. So let's go here. And we can Colress for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is good. I could Ultra Ball for a 9th, and we can get ourselves a 9th. That seems very strong. So we're going to do it. I don't think that they are going to mess with me too much. Let's get an Exeggcute. It seems fine. And then worst comes to worst, we're calling collect. We got the Grimer there. Free attack. And it can, collect for 2, which is insane. We missed it. However, I do have an option to be able to dig into the bottom 9 cards of my deck. We'd have to grab Dowsing Machine for the... Well, yeah, this is fine. Bottom 9 cards, yeah, we Dowsing Machine for the Field Blower, and we could certainly do it. We would have to Day change into it. Sure. Why not? You know, we'll live a little. So here, we are just going to Ultra Ball as well. Kind of hedge our bets, make it so that we're guaranteed. Well, not guaranteed, but very close to being able to hit it. And I don't think that there's anything that my opponent is going to be able to do to punish me for this reach here. I still got a Versus Seeker. in my deck still. So I think with the Versus Seeker still in the deck, that feels very good, and I don't really have any problems going for it. And then we're going to Field Blower, get rid of that Float Stone, and then Day change into the bottom of my deck, looking for the triple acceleration energy. We got it, so I can just retreat to this Snorlax VMAX and take a big old knockout G-Max Fall for 300 damage. And we've got one more triple acceleration energy in the bottom 2 cards of my deck. All I need to do is just launch one more attack. My opponent's got a 2-card hand, and I'd be pretty impressed if they can follow up with a Luster Downfall attack this turn. They need to put an energy or put a tool on the Garbodor as well, because their ability lock is broken, and they're not going to be taking a knockout on my active because it's got 340 hit points, which is absolutely insane. And I can make it so that I draw out my entire deck at this point. I've got Juniper. Yeah, so just Juniper. It feels silly to Juniper into the, 1-card deck, but there we go. Goodbye. And that's GG's to my opponent. Snorlax VMAX G-Max Fall doing 300 damage every single turn. It's a busted deck, and I definitely recommend giving it a try. Shout out to Riley Hulbert again, a good friend of mine, for the list, and I like this list a lot. You can play it with Cincino as well to help you kind of draw cards and find resources. That way you're not as weak to Silent Lab, you're not as weak to Alolan Muk, because the Cincino can continue drawing you cards. But I really like the explosiveness of the Shaymin engine, and I think that if you're really worried about Garbodor, you can play a second Field Blower. With the Dowsing Machine, we had access to the Field Blower when we needed it in order to continue drawing through our deck, and as you saw, we were very easily able to take all 6 prizes with only 2 Special Charge in deck, and I didn't even use them. I was able to take all 6 prizes with just the 4 triple acceleration energy in that second game. So definitely recommend checking out the list. Thanks again to Riley for hooking it up with the deck list in the first place. And thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell, and of course, check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/TrickyJim, where I stream Pokemon trading card game content every single weekday. Also, make sure to check out fullgripgames.com for all your trading card game singles, and fullgripcodes.com for instant PTCGO code delivery. Supporting the shop at Full Grip Games directly supports the content that I produce here on Tricky Jim. Y'all take it easy and have a great day. I'll catch you later on Twitch. Peace.